Amy Schumer, Real Housewives audition.
Hey, Amy, why do you think you make a good Real Housewife?
Because I'm all of those things. I'm real. I'm in the house a lot. I am not a wife, but I have had sex with a lot of married people. I have a lot of exes. One of them was on a team. I don't want to mention what team because it's not a professional one.
What would you say your tagline is?
I'm Amy, and I may look like a whore, but I am. I don't need
Good
a
enough
man.
for me. Go, go, go!
Welcome to Cordkillers. Our mission to report the intel from the front lines of the cord-cutting revolution so that you, my friends, have the information you need at your disposal in your brain. We insert it into your mind so that you'll be able to watch what you want, when you want, where you want, on whatever device you want. And joining me to do it is fighting mad Brian Brushwood.
I ain't fighting mad. I'm mad, slightly.
He's mildly angry Brian Brushwood.
I'd say slightly touched. Can I go with touched?
Perfectly reasonably annoyed Brian Brushwood.
There you go. Right on. It's certainly not annoyed at Amy Schumer. She's delightful and wonderful, but not as wonderful or delightful as our special guest this week's episode. It's Jenny Josephson of DTNS.
Woo, hello. It's so great to be here.
It's
yeah.
wonderful to have you.
Yeah, oh yeah. What's funny is I just assumed that that the two of you would just like slip into rapport, and then there was that awkward silence, and I was like, "Wait, you guys talk all the time?
That's
why am
because
I?"
I'm silent on the show.
Well, and also we're not preparing for the show or posting the show. If I'm not editing DTNS, I don't know what to say to Jenny.
Okay, for people who don't realize that Daily Tech News Show, DTNS, is the best way to get your daily dose of tech news, and they don't understand the amazing things that Jenny Josephson does for this, please explain. Bring them up to speed, Tom.
Well, Daily Tech News Show is Monday through Friday, so it's a lie. It's not really daily, not on Saturday and Sunday at all.
Okay, Tom. Let me translate. Daily Tech News Show is the best freaking show on the planet. It's absolutely daily. Covers tech, the news, and it is most certainly a show. I'm sorry, what else did you want to say?
I don't know. I usually ask my producer for those sorts of things. Jenny?
Daily Tech News Show is a fabulous show that's on daily. It's about technology. It covers the news of the day and features Tom's expert analysis. And sometimes I get people on the show, and sometimes I don't. That's
Dude.
what I do.
Look, I think we sold it. I think the whole world is really stoked about your other show. I think we're stoked to have your producer right on. I feel like if there was ever a time we could jump into the primary target.
Whoa, hold on though, Brian. Before we do,
Oh,
just between you and me, I don't want really anybody else to know this because it might embarrass Jenny.
Sure.
But she's kind of a Hollywood insider
Oh, gosh.
because she lives inside the
Actual
boundaries
Hollywood.
of Hollywood.
dude. Okay, so what you're saying is, title of the episode, an extreme expose with a Hollywood insider for the first time live on Cordkillers. Let's jump into the primary targets.
So TiVo, which I love, conducted a survey of television viewing habits. So this really doesn't have that much to do with TiVo itself. We'll actually get to some actual TiVo news later, but they did a survey of the folks in their advisors panel. They've got like 30,000 people doing that. For this particular survey that they operated in March 2015, they got 12,458 participants. Now, that's a lot. So you figure they've probably got a good statistical sample. However, remember, this is TiVo's advisors panel. All these people own TiVos. They all own DVRs. Take that into consideration when you realize that in the survey, they found out that 92% of the people they surveyed have binge viewed at some point, and they define binge viewing as watching at least 3 episodes of a particular TV show in a day. Brian, I'd almost be more surprised that 8% said they hadn't.
Yeah, I got to be honest. Part of me feels like maybe this study indicates that it's time for us to retire the term binge viewing. Binge viewing used to be the kind of like, once in a blue moon random activity. You and the wife, you stay up all night watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
You buy a box set of DVDs, right?
Yeah,
Back
right.
in the day.
Yeah, sure, right. It was a rare and wonderful thing. But nowadays, a lot of these, and what's funny is in the story and in the reactions, they act as though it's a unique and amazing thing that people will delay gratification. They won't watch the episodes week by week because they want to build up a bunch of them and then dive through and watch them all straight through. Again, if you substitute the word chapters for episodes and books for series, all of a sudden it doesn't sound dumb at all. It sounds like the way we like to consume a lot of our media. Right, Jenny?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I've never been a huge fan of the word binge because usually it's followed by eating or alcohol. And so to me, I'm always like, is that a bad thing? It's like it always had the binge watching had like a weird half negative connotation to it. So I think that it's a natural way to watch something, especially if it's seriously serialized.
Now, hold on. Does that mean that what we do on this show is we binge watch and then we purge on Cordkillers? So it's nothing but an endless cycle of binging and purging?
And we're left unable to remember anything we watched.
We get it out. We do it. It's like we stuff it all in our brains and then we're like, I got things to say. I'm done.
That's it. And so my question is, what can we call it now? And I kind of went on and looked for other words to replace it. And if you've ever looked at the thesaurus for binge, it's not pretty.
So you're among the 40% who think the term has a negative connotation, but that's actually fallen from 50% 2 years ago. Maybe we are empowering. We're like reclaiming the term binge to mean something good now.
I mean, look, I'm not going to say, first of all, I think that was very judgmental of Jenny to say that the synonyms for binge aren't positive. Words like, we could call it television orgy, a television affair, a TV bender, a TV bout, a TV carousal. Let's get TV drunk. Let's go on a TV jag. Let's go TV flinging. Let's TV toot. I didn't know that toot was one of these words.
You know, you eat a lot of TV and then you toot it right out.
Let's TV compotation. I don't know what that word means. But what is no, that's an.
Is that where you eat a lot of compote? Like blueberry
I guess.
compote?
I don't know. That's what I'm going to call it from now on. I'm going to say it's time for a TV compotation.
Compo television.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other interesting thing in this survey, 66% say they use Netflix to binge watch, which I don't think that's surprising. Again, it's hard to know what to think of these numbers. 32% say they wait until a whole season is done before watching so they can binge view. So obviously it's not a small number, as Brian's saying. But then it's also TiVo people, right? So
no.
I feel like
as
with
a matter of fact,
12,000 people, discount these numbers by a few percentage points. They're still pretty significant, though.
Well, and understand, because they're TiVo people, it makes it all the more extraordinary to me that they would wait so long before getting around to watching it, because if they're TiVo people, that means they're recording it in real time, even though they're not present. They're saving it up and then they're watching it straight through.
Well, apparently 66% of them are using the Netflix app on TiVo. They're not even recording.
Okay, well, you know what? Then that does solve a big part of it, because like one of the nice things about Netflix, of course, is that it all comes out at the exact same time all at once. You know, it's a difference. You know, are you the kind of person that in the late 90s enjoyed reading the serialization of The Green Mile by Stephen King, you know, picking them up at the grocery store exit? Or are
more
you the
recently,
kind of person?
The Human Division by John Scalzi, same sort of deal.
Yep. To be honest, I think there's a place for both of those. I think there's a novelty to having it split up. I think that certainly I have enjoyed the serialized aspect of Game of Thrones. I've enjoyed being on the same page at the same time with a lot of different people. But in general, I think the superior method to tell a detailed, rich, dramatic narrative is to release everything at once. You know, one book / season / movie at a time. You know, I don't think we really benefit inherently from splitting it up week over week, and certainly not by by taking a break every 15 minutes to talk about, you know, shoe shine or whatever other products.
And also, just going back to the entire purpose of your entire show, put it all out at once and let us decide how many we want to watch at one time. You know, like if you want to be a saver, if you want to sip or savor The Wire and talk and think about each episode as it comes out, that's great. If you want to blast through 22 episodes of Grey's Anatomy because you just want to get to the one where something really dramatic happens, you should be able to do that too. Like it's just choice back in the hands of the user.
I do like the idea though, and when you bring up the Green Mile and Human Division, it makes me think that this is an authorial choice as well, to say, well, I'm going to either let you have it all season at once, right? I mean, why not just save up all 6 seasons of something and publish those at once? Well, that's too long, right? So I'm wondering if there'll be a time when a TV series will say, we're not going to give it out all at once, but we're not going to give it out weekly. I know there was the animation series on Netflix because of production issues. They were putting it out in blocks of like 4. But I wonder if somebody will on purpose say, it's going to be an irregular schedule. You'll never know when the next one's going to launch. Sometimes it might be 3 in a week. Sometimes you might have to wait 2 weeks.
No, yes. Number one, I absolutely 100% believe that will definitely happen, and I think it'll be novel and precious. Doggone it, I had a clever thought and I've lost it because I was being patient. Remind me never to be patient, Tom. Remind me to just interrupt you with whatever thoughts I have the moment they come into my brain.
Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay. I forgot what I was going to say.
See, that's what happens. That's what happens.
You know what though? Here's one thing I can guarantee is that Cordkillers is going to stay on a weekly schedule. So
no. I disagree. I think we should do the entire year's news just straight through. What if you want to binge, man?
All right. To do that though, we'll need a time machine.
Okay.
And a lot of researchers, which means we need more patrons.
Oh, wait, no, that's great, because I was about to ask you how much those cost, but then it occurred to me, like, it doesn't matter. As long as we have enough patrons, we're totally good. So as long as everyone goes to patreon.com/Cordkillers, you'll be able to chip in a few nickels. If you derive value from the show, then why don't you show it to us by keeping us in business? We're able to hire a producer. We're able to make studio upgrades. We continue to grow and develop. And heck, man, that's the same engine that's also fueling the growth and development of a Daily Tech News show over on your end as well.
That's right.
And the rent.
It's the value for value model, right? You get value from the show, you get value back. That's good enough. If you're just like, you know what, I get $1's worth out of every episode of Cordkillers, I'm gonna give $1 an episode. That's great. That's fine. Want us to build up time travel and be able to binge watch Cordkillers a year in advance? You probably need to give more.
Can I real quick, real brief side jag? We got the new issue of Wired Magazine. It's
a side binge?
Yes, a side binge.
A side computation?
Well, I'm going to give all the sentences straight in a row. You're going to binge listen to the sentences I'm about to say. The only magazine we get is Wired Magazine, and there was a quick article talking about how he wishes that Spotify had a just give money to this artist button. So that every time you listen to a song, even though you bought it years ago, you bought it on CD, you bought it on cassette or whatever, and you're paying a few pennies to stream it right now, there are those brief moments that you just feel like, oh man, I just want to give this guy $1 right this minute. And more apps need a tip extra button. Whether, you should finish a book on Kindle where it's like, holy crap, The Martian was the best book I've read this entire year. I'm super surprised at how much I loved it. Extra. Just throw money at Andy Weir's face. Like, I think we're going to get to that point, and hopefully, like, if you feel that after listening to an episode of Cordkillers, guess what? We have that. Just join the club here at patreon.com/Cordkillers.
And now the signals intelligence you paid for.
Yeah.
You paid for it.
Or didn't pay for it. That's fine if you didn't pay.
Somebody paid for it.
I mean, look, the signals have intelligence.
And we're going to tell you what they're saying. They're saying, kill them. No, they're not. They're not saying that. That would be rude. What they're saying is, Hulu and Pluto TV have joined forces. Pluto TV, if you may have heard us talk about it before, it's an attempt to take videos that are out there on the internet and present them in a grid view as if you're watching regular television. So if you just want to lean back, I like it for news because I can put on the news channel and it'll go from like Fox News to CNBC to CNN to BBC. And I'm getting a wider view on news than I could get from any other service. And I don't have to touch it, right? It just goes from one segment to another. Well, now they've teamed up with Hulu. So they have like a 90s TV shows channel where it just plays 90s TV shows one after the other, 80s TV shows channel, an I Love Lucy channel, a Joss Whedon shows channel. These are all available on Pluto.tv on your desktop. They are not available on their over-the-top box apps. So it's the same deal as Hulu. Anything that's free on Hulu that you could watch on your laptop or your desktop PC, you can watch on Pluto TV on your laptop or your PC.
So who do you think, and I'm going to pose this to Jenny first, is the bigger winner out of this? Is this Hulu's win in that it legitimizes them as a content platform that is now being distributed through multiple different ways? You can go to Hulu's website, or you can be part of the Pluto ecosystem. Or is Pluto the big winner in that all of a sudden they got this massive influx of like, well, what TV do we have? I don't know. Try all of it. Hulu is pretty much TV on the web, and now all of the free content is here.
Well, all right. So this is one of those things where I don't think there's just one winner. I think I'd never heard of Pluto TV before today because they were associated with Hulu. I went, I checked them out, I signed up. I looked, I thought, oh, that's interesting. And so they're the winner there. But I think Hulu's the winner because I'm sort of shocked that Hulu has the rights to take their deals off their own network and make a deal with another service. I mean, that's a lot of paperwork. And the fact that they have that built into some of their content, I think is pretty much a win for them, because before it seemed like sometimes Hulu was like not a dumping ground, but like a dead end. And to say that they're not, that's a different story.
Maybe this is like a perceptual thing, because the way I look at Pluto is just the wrapper on Hulu, right? Pluto is providing a novel front end for essentially the Hulu service. So really nothing changes in that regard. But as per usual, I assume, Tom, or a better objective insight into this than I do.
Yeah, I don't know what the deals are. Obviously, they made a deal with Hulu, but I don't know why they couldn't have just put an iframe around Hulu content, because they're not stripping out ads. They're not changing anything. All they're doing is taking the video as it plays on the Hulu free version and playing it in the same browsers and the same locations as it plays in the Hulu free version. My guess is they wanted to make it easier to do that in their grid system, and so they needed a little Hulu cooperation and figured, well, it's probably not a bad idea to get their cooperation. But I bet there wasn't any extra paperwork on Hulu's part, because this is not showing up anywhere that Hulu content wouldn't show up already. So it's probably an easy deal for Hulu.
Right.
It gets people aware of what's available at Hulu, and then maybe they'll come back to Hulu at some point and sign up and want to pay because they'll want to watch it on the Roku, et cetera. That's the Hulu free platform's whole pitch, right?
I'll tell you
it's just putting that in front of more eyeballs.
Here's where I'm going to go. I'm going to say that Pluto is the big winner, because now we've seen the first step in the right direction. Imagine a world in as little as 8 months this could happen. I don't normally get in the predicting business, but I'm going to try it on here. In as few as 8 months, I can picture a world where certainly within 8 months, Pluto will say, okay, you've had Hulu free available. Just provide us your Hulu subscriber credentials, and we'll unlock all of your other Hulu content on there. Oh, hey, while we're at it, why not also give us your Netflix credentials, and we'll also make available all of your Netflix programming. Oh, wait, how silly of us. Why not also give us your Crackle credentials and your Amazon Prime credentials? Oh, guess what? You now have the ability on any mobile device, any laptop or whatever, to watch what you want when you want on any damn device you please.
Well, and that would explain why you need to approach Hulu for a deal, is to say, let's try this. Let's try this way. Let's not have any problems. Let's not have you threatening us, even though we think we probably could do it anyway, as a movement towards we want to be a place that drives subscribers to Hulu. And then suddenly, I love that idea. Jenny, what do you think of this idea of a service that says, yeah, we know you're a subscriber to Hulu, Netflix, Crackle, but you may have a hard time figuring out what to watch. Now we'll put on channels, like a sci-fi channel.
They're talking to me. Right? Because I have never loved the Netflix wrapper. And I will say, I wanted to make one point, which is that I actually worked with the Hulu people when I worked at Yahoo. And they are really firm believers in the be everywhere you can with your clips and your things. And man, if you wanted something from them, like a clip, they moved heaven and earth to get it to you. And it's really interesting to see them sort of embrace that philosophy beyond just one deal that they had with Yahoo and going into this deal with Pluto, because they want to be they're the living proof of the lesson. Like, if you want to succeed in against the Netflixes and the Amazon Primes of the world, you just have to be everywhere. There's no downside for this. And yeah, I went and I looked at that grid and I loved it. It made perfect sense to me. There's a 24/7 cat channel.
I'll tell you what,
could this be bad?
I mean, this is not as complex as I keep proposing this like Jarvis-like concierge service where you just, have a conversation with your AI that picks all your favorite stuff. But if it's anywhere near as good as even the YouTube algorithm tends to be pretty good at figuring out what you've watched in the past and figure out there's a new video from this guy. You've watched all of his past stuff and you thumbs it up. So clearly you like it. Now it's available. Let me put it on your calendar for you. I think that is an emerging space that there's room for somebody to come in, swoop in and bring us an iPhone-like quality experience. You know, like there was no category for the smartphone until the iPhone just swept in and did everything so right. We suddenly, the whole world was like, how did I live without one of these? I could totally see for the modern Cordkiller Pluto, you know, assuming that it's good and that it understands you and that it develops everything and gets all of the deals, filling in that space.
I tell you what, I don't even want that algorithm channel anymore. I've had so many experience with algorithms that supposedly predict what I want that are crappy. I actually prefer human curated stuff because it exposes me to things that the algorithm wouldn't know I would like.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying for me, I would like, you know, that film expert curated Criterion Collection channel provided by Hulu. That's like, these are the greatest Japanese films of all time that I could just sit down and like, hey, pick something for me. I want to see it.
I mean, and that certainly will exist. I think both will exist. But I, in general, am pretty happy with Pandora. You know, like, you know, I went to a family reunion this past weekend or this past week, and it was great to pick, like, look around at my family and then say, I'm just going to type in Creedence Clearwater Revival, and I'm going to assume that everything comes out is going to be in a similar genre and make everyone happy. And sure enough, for the rest of the day, everyone's like, oh, man, what a great playlist. Did you make this playlist, Brian? I was like, yeah, nice. I did, insofar as I typed in one artist that I knew you would all like, and the rest came from Pandora. So
see, it started with you knowing.
Yes. No.
That's true.
That's true.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Maybe that's what we need is the human curated algorithm AI.
By the way, J.C. Calhoun says he finds Pandora to be consistently terrible. Let me give you this advice, and to everyone at home, just type in Fundamentals, which is an Australian hip-hop group, and you will get an eclectic group of curious hip-hop. It's amazing.
A side note to this, by the way, Hulu says that the desktop is a declining platform for it, too, which may be another reason that they want to get their videos in front of more eyeballs on Pluto. Living room viewing is now 58% of Hulu's viewing, up from 44% a year ago. Mobile's 17%, about the same as the 15% a year over year. And PC is 24%, down from 41% year over year. So they're definitely seeing people move towards the over-the-top box, and the deal with Pluto just kind of helps them gather more of those PC viewers.
Do you think it's a declining interest in PC-based viewing, or do you think it's just an increased available of over-the-top services? Because, I mean, again, you know, we rented a house for this reunion, and sure enough, I tried my damnedest to set up Netflix for my kid, and it was just a disaster. I just hated it. It was slow and stupid, and I got angry at built-in services to smart televisions all over again.
Yeah, but was it slow because of this? Well, that's a smart television. We're not even talking about that. Like, forget smart. That's all. No wonder. When you got to smart television, I'm like, oh yeah.
Well, okay. So you think it's just an increase, like over the top includes like all of your Xboxes and your PS3s?
Yeah, this is mostly like Roku's and Fire TVs and Apple TVs and Xboxes. And I think that's what it is people are like, I don't want to deal with having to plug my PC or laptop into the television. There are plenty of people who just want to watch on a laptop sometimes, but it shows that there's a lot of people who've been waiting for an easy way to put it on the television.
Yeah, I also think it's just about your butt. Do you want to sit in an office chair for 2 more hours to watch 2 hours of
Oh
House
my
of
God,
Cards?
no! Don't talk to me that way. That's like, okay, as the father, and let me in defense of butts everywhere who happen to have families and kids and so on. Like all of the adult programming we watch, we do not do in the living room, because the living room you'll be able to hear it throughout the entire house. We in fact we moved one of the love seats from the living room into my office so that Bonnie and I could sit down and watch shows in my office and hopefully not wake up the kids with cursing and whatnot.
All right. Well, I have been proved childless. Hey.
Yeah, but I think that aside, most people probably want television viewing.
Agreed.
And that's not to say that there isn't a healthy percentage that do want laptop or PC viewing because of these kinds of situations that totally exist. So, Brian.
Yep.
I wrote a book.
What? This is you're going off script, Merritt. You're out of control. You wrote a book?
I wrote a book. Yeah. I don't know why I'm bringing it up right now. I mean, you were talking last week about scam stuff. and it made me realize I sell things that aren't related to Cordkillers.
That's great. Well, some people would want to gear up right about now, but I say the only gear you need is the book Citadel 32, written by my friend Tom Merritt.
Yeah. I've heard that you don't have to be able to follow the linear progression of a spreadsheet in order to write a book. And
Oh my
I'm here
gosh.
to say that is absolutely true. I can skip right
would
over
you say
whole
that-
sections of a spreadsheet, and I've still been able to write 168 pages of Citadel 32, a story about one group of people stranded on the moon while an apocalypse happens on Earth.
I'll tell you what, man, I'm sitting here, I'm looking at a spreadsheet that's normally how we run the show. I see this sequence of rows and columns, and I see somebody just went completely off the grid.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's right there. I just moved it.
Whoa! Oh, Jack, yo! Why I on a merit?
Let's gear up.
The power of the user compels you. Hey, man, yeah, thank you. Look, here's the thing. If you guys enjoy Cordkillers, you can keep our show alive and afloat and keep us loud, live, and independent by throwing us money a bunch of different ways. And I say buy Tom's book. How far off? Wait, you said the audiobook is available and free in the past?
No, the audiobook is yet to be recorded for Citadel 32. TomMerrittBooks.com. If you buy enough of the printed audio, I'll hire Jeff Kanata.
The printed audio.
Printed audio, printed book.
Which, by the way, Jeff Kanata, we did you listen to the audiobook he recorded, the Traveling Through Space?
It was really good.
I thought he was fantastic in that.
Yeah.
I would love to. In fact, if I had the preference, I would rather give you 3 times the money to listen to Jeff Kanata do the audiobook than the book. But that's not going to stop me from buying Citadel 32.
Actual conversations have happened with actual Jeff Kanatas about possibly doing just that sort of thing.
Holy cow, that'd be amazing.
Now we can gear up.
Well, Tom, how
And
many
it's time
books
for the
have you
front
written?
lines. Oh, wait, sorry.
Yeah, how many books have you written, Tom?
Hey, TiVo is offering former Aereo customers a deal. If you don't remember, TiVo bought the mailing list from Aereo along with the name Aereo, so they can email all its customers and offer them a Romeo over-the-air box. That's the TiVo Romeo that only has a TV tuner. It doesn't have cable card in it. It's usually $50. You can get that for free now, along with a TiVo Stream, which is a box that allows the TiVo over-the-air box to stream to your phone, so you can watch your recorded shows on your mobile device. And 2 years of service. You don't have to pay anything, Brian. You get all that for free as long as you agree to pay $20 a month for 2 years.
Okay. Well, first of all, this word, the F word that you just dropped, apparently
Free.
it means something
all
different.
of it's free.
Yeah, free. Okay.
You pay $20 a month for 2 years.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So first of all, just so I'm clear, the TiVo Stream works pretty much identical to a Sling box. Is that right?
Not so much. I mean, kind of, I guess. I don't know. It extends. You get into comparing it with the Sling box, you're kind of comparing apples and oranges. What the TiVo Stream does is says, hey, we have apps for Android and iOS, and we can send all of your TV programming to those apps. So yes, but it doesn't do all the things the Sling box does.
Okay, but good enough as far as like core functionality on there. Number one, I don't know that I will be on board for this, but I am not somebody who personally has an Aereo-sized hole in my heart. There's a number of people who I know are in that exact position. They love their Aereo, and all of a sudden they don't have it. And this is a legal, if
I
more
can already hear the
direct-
guy writing an email. I'm sorry to interrupt you. The TiVo Stream also allows you to download the shows you've recorded and move them so you can watch them offline, which
man.
which the Sling box can't.
That fictional guy who keeps writing emails directly into your mind from the future.
Believe me, I live with them 24 hours a day. They're called Tom Merritt. But
No. I think
that's why I was like, no, it's not a Sling box because it has a different feature set.
Correct. Number one, I think across the board, this is a smart play for TiVo. I think that from the beginning, they have recognized that clearly Aereo was onto something. They had technology that could fill that demand. They had agreements that they were able to do. I think it's a smart move all the way across. However, I don't know that TiVo is going to have when Aereo was playing this game, they got everyone fired up about joining Team Aereo and getting on it, and then they got crushed by the Supreme Court. I don't know that TiVo is banging the drum that loudly. I mean, that's a good value with, use the F word free and all that, but like Jenny, do you feel fired up? Like you just want to run out and get this now because you feel like you need it?
It's been 13 years since I bought my first TiVo. I remember it like it was yesterday. There's a picture of me unwrapping it at Christmas, like 2003. And I still feel an intense love for TiVo. And if I wasn't locked into DirecTV because of the baseball package, which I know where I can go get my baseball now online. But I still have incredibly strong, warm feelings for TiVo. So if I was like a person who ran away from another service to go with my wild boyfriend Aereo, and then he dumped me in Washington D.C. and I had nowhere to go,
technically he
I
got
might go
arrested.
Home to Mommy TiVo.
He didn't
I might
dump
go
you.
home.
He got pinched by the man, and as he got pulled away in handcuffs, Chet Kanoja was like, "I love you, Jenny. I've always loved you. Find someone else." And then he got
Don't wait
then
for
I would
me.
take a
Go
corner
with
and
TiVo.
go, TiVo.
Yeah.
They left me.
Exactly, right?
I think what is weird here though is TiVo already had this. I mean, obviously we didn't get it for the discount, right? The discount is the differentiator. But TiVo already had this, and Aereo's whole premise was, hey, do you have crappy over the air? Do you not want to deal with a tuner and an antenna? We'll just provide you the service. And TiVo's like, well, maybe you can't get all these stations, or maybe you didn't want to deal with setting up an antenna, but we'll still give you a discount. It's almost the same thing, even though it's not, right?
Well, and again, there's fulfillment on a promise, and there's making a promise. I think it's smart of TiVo to make the promise. The promise is we're pretty much the closest thing you're going to get to Aereo. And the fulfillment, I assume, is pretty close to that as well. I think it's a smart play for them, and I hope it works out. And in fact, I would love some boots on the ground reporting. If anyone out there gets one of these, go ahead and write us at cordkillers@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from it.
And now, the front lines.
Indeed.
Frontlines.
Vivendi, a European company, has purchased an 80% stake in Dailymotion, also a European company, a streaming company. Vivendi, if you didn't know, owns Canal Plus Group, which makes movies and TV shows, and Universal Music Group, which makes the musics. And they said that Dailymotion will allow for the company to, quote, do joint development of original and distinctive content and formats.
It has been astonishing to me to watch the rehabilitation of Dailymotion in I would say in the public's mind, but I'm gonna say in my mind. All I know is that 10 years ago, in 2006, 2007, if I wanted to see the latest episode of 24 and I couldn't find it at legitimate places, or I missed it online, and I didn't feel like torrenting it, I knew that I could go to Dailymotion and it would definitely be there. I think it's fair to say that Dailymotion enjoyed having rather relaxed standards on piracy. They weren't the subject of a big fat lawsuit at the time from that YouTube was going through. This is amazing to me. I think good on Dailymotion and good on all of us for getting to watch this. That's all I say.
Jenny, you have anything to add to that?
I think it's Vivendi, like, oh, hey, we can have TV on the web too. It's just, it was there. They seem like a logical thing. That seems to make sense. But again, I did not have an emotional attachment to Dailymotion ever. So
I think really the interesting thing here is that you have a music and television company almost exclusively saying, let's buy a streaming company. Let's leapfrog this stuff. Does this mean we will see less Universal Music on YouTube? Does this mean that Canal Plus shows might go straight to Dailymotion in a subscriber tier? Think about it. This is a huge record label and the HBO of Europe buying YouTube.
Well, and it's a good seat at the table, right? Because like if what you want to do is, think about services that do this space. If you're going to list them in order, you've got what? You've got YouTube, of course, at the top. You have Vimeo in number 2. Vimeo being the high quality, high definition video. You might even go Twitch third place before you get around to mentioning Dailymotion, right? But Dailymotion is still a top. Yes, no, correct. If you are in France, I think Dailymotion has a much bigger presence. He-Man, the Comedy Central app is now available on your Roku. And while you need a cable subscription to watch everything, the latest episodes of some shows, like The Daily Show, The Nightly Show with Larry... Wait, with what?
Larry Wilmore.
Larry Wilmore, because
It's
it definitely
missing-
says.
It's missing some words, but it's Larry Wilmore.
Okay, Larry Wilmore, thank you. Just saved me. This nailed it, Jenny. Always producing. And if you select others available now, we've talked about this before. Like, I still have dumb, stupid cable because my kids enjoy their authenticated Disney Channel apps on their phone. I am setting fire to like $80 to $100 a month because I can't be bothered to have that argument with the children to take that away from them. And smart, good on you.
Yeah, please bring all the things to my beautiful little Roku stick. Every time a Roku gets a new app, like an angel gets its wings, because it's the best way to watch TV that I have yet experienced, except for real TV, which is too expensive.
And I think the key here is that you're seeing the ability to watch something without a cable subscription. That's pretty new. Most of the time, especially Viacom launches an app, it's like, yep, got to authenticate, lock it in. And they're allowing some shows as a teaser, obviously, to try to get you to subscribe to cable and get Comedy Central. But you can actually watch some things for free. The pendulum is swinging back that way. I think that's good.
Yeah. Well, it says you'll need a paid TV subscription
To watch everything.
To watch most.
But
Yeah. Got it.
The
got
latest
it.
episodes of some shows, like the Larry Wilmore show and Gadget, you're missing a WIL there. And a few select others will be available.
Right on. Thank you, Jenny, for saving us.
Yeah, thanks, Jenny. An excellent teaser trailer appeared on YouTube for Netflix's upcoming series based on the books, A Series of Unfortunate Events. Trouble is, Netflix doesn't know where it came from. They're like, we didn't do it. The teaser is the only video on an account under the username Eleonora Poe.
Yeah, it looks good. I'll tell you what this reminds me of is the way it felt when we. Do you remember when we thought we were seeing the title sequence to The Walking Dead all those years ago?
Yeah,
It was so good and such high quality that it was clear that this had to be an actual leak. And then it turns out it was nothing like it. And to be honest, to this day, I maintain that was the better version on there. But it's like right down to the Netflix logo that they have on there. It's awesome.
I just think it's an example of all those people out there in the world that own things in their own mind and have a vision of the way that they should be. And I love the fact that the internet exists to let them show their stuff.
Well, but
I
suspect also like if you're between the ages of 22 and 26 and you want to make make it in this business of doing motion graphics or whatever, there's no better, wider opportunity to have something strike gold and go viral than to take a widely anticipated property and do your take on how you would do it. And I think it's a smart move on whoever did it, and I'm sure that'll hopefully turn into good work for that person.
You would think that they might want to make their real name available if they wanted that, though. I mean, it's so weird that they did this pseudonym.
No, I would say in priority.
You can still email her or him.
Could send a message through YouTube, I guess. You're right.
That's true. But keep in mind, like in order of priorities, the top priority is make it explode. Second priority is make them be able to contact you, right? So what you do is, I would say that going under a pseudonym, especially one from the universe or whatever, would help blow things up. And then from there, you can always step forward later and claim credit for having created it after the fact. Hey man, TV Player, which offers free streaming of over-the-air channels, now has a £5 a month plus package that includes 25 pay TV channels like National Geographic, home to one hacking the system, History and Discovery Channel, some of which will even include catch-up service. And is that available right now, or is that just in England,
Yeah,
Tom?
if you're in the UK, first of all, you may not have realized the TV Player was a free thing that you could put on your phone that would allow you to watch all the over-the-air stuff in the UK without having to pay a dime and without being illegal. So that's kind of interesting how that system worked differently than Aereo. But also now TV Player is offering its own little a la carte package.
Dude, that's great. I mean, it's great insofar as that there's more increased availability. Not so great insofar as now they're charging for what used to be free.
Well, no, they haven't changed anything. You still get all the free stuff for free.
Yep.
You pay £5 a month to pay for the things you couldn't get because they were only available through pay TV services that are much more expensive.
Got it. So this is like the becoming a full subscriber to Hulu, or a patron at patreon.com.
This is like if Sling TV were free and had all the free over-the-air stuff, and then they charge you their $5 a month package to add like, oh, but those cable channels that you can't get over the air, we'll throw those on here too.
Right on. Jenny, are you going to run out and grab this?
Are you going to move to the
I will
UK?
say I'm a little bit reaching peak confusion when it comes to packages of things where I can watch things. And I can watch some things here and some things here, but not these things here. And I need a cable subscription here, but not here. And I just get a little, every once in a while, I just get a little twitch in my head, and I just turn off everything.
We've talked about how good formerly Fanhattan, now Fan TV is and canistream.it as far as like what you have. If there's a property you want, just type those in, and they do a really good job of telling you where you can find it, whether it's available for free or whether you need a pay per episode on there. And again, for the record, as somebody who's got the cable 2 or 3 times, man, when you're not paying $150 a month, you can afford an awful lot of $2 to $3 episodes to buy without really blinking.
Yeah.
So go buy this, UK folks, TV player. It's actually, you don't have to buy anything if you don't want those other channels, but you really need the National Geographic channel because seriously, you got to watch Hacking the System. Yeah. Let's see what's under surveillance.
It's all about location. Under surveillance.
First full trailer for Netflix's forthcoming Wet Hot American Summer First Day of Camp, a prequel to 2001's cult classic Wet Hot American Summer, comes out on July 31st. That's right, it's a prequel, even though all the actors are older and still playing teenagers.
Right on. I guess that solves the problem insofar as like they don't have they could be there. This is the part where I awkwardly confess that I never watched Wet Hot American Summer, and everyone gets mad at me. But by making it a prequel, then you get to keep all of the characters in the same place they are before whatever transformative arc happened during the movie. Does that make sense?
This is the happiest I've been in a long time when I saw this trailer, because not just for the cult movie, but just for the whole camp experience. Like there was something about Wet Hot American Summer, the movie, that while very true to camp was like a little bit arch and a little bit removed in some way. And I'm just so happy to get an opportunity to see if they go slightly beyond that into capturing what it really is like to go to camp. And I have a feeling that episodic television might give them the space to just put a little bit of that in there. And I could not be more excited.
Good deal.
And this series must have had budget, right? Bradley Cooper's in it. Amy Poehler's in it.
Well, they all came back.
Paul Rudd is in it. I mean, yeah, everybody. There were people like Bradley Cooper who weren't people yet. I mean, they were humans, but they weren't like names. When that
garbage,
movie came
Tom.
out.
He was just garbage.
Way to escalate it right up to Roe v. Wade. Is he a person until he had a massive
about a hit
hit
movie? You can be no. Let's not go there. Let us go to the fact that like all of these names are bigger now than they used to be, and they still got them all to come in and at least play a part. Molly Shannon's in it. I think the weirdest part. Well, John Hamm's in it too. I don't know if he was in the original, was he, Jenny?
No, I don't think so. I think he's...
Dude, more John Hamm comedy. I would subscribe right now, $10 a month for a John Hamm comedy channel. He's brilliant at comedy.
On Pluto TV.
Yes.
Kristen Wiig is in here. And H. John Benjamin is in it as a human being, not the voice of Bob or Archer. Like, that was probably the weirdest part of the trailer.
He'll always be Coach McGurk to me. H. John Benjamin.
Like, as soon as that voice came out at the trailer, though, I was like, that's Archer.
All right. I'm going to have to check this out. Hey, man, what have you been watching, Tom?
Oh, just some TV. What about you?
A little bit of a whole bunch of stuff. Jenny, what about you? Let's let you go first.
Oh, okay. So I had the gauze of my comfortable existence stripped away to reveal the real world via Mr. Robot. We watched episodes 1 and 2 right in a row. I think today's Monday. We watched it last night.
Oh, so my gosh, dude.
Recovering.
Did your brain melt?
My brain melted. It was, if I had ever consumed any mind-altering substance, which I certainly have never done and never will, it probably would have felt a lot like that, in which it feels like a Band-Aid's being ripped off and you get super paranoid and then you go to sleep. That's the experience of Mr. Robot, but with Christian Slater. It's pretty amazing.
I'm sure we'll talk about it in spoiler in time, because I also, as a matter of fact, once I saw on the doc that both of you guys have watched episode 2, I took some time this afternoon and got caught up and on the same page. I will say that one of my favorite aspects, the drug-like feeling of everything, is the power of the unreliable narrator, knowing that he acknowledges from the beginning that you're seeing things the way he sees it, which may or may not be the way things are. Spoiler alert, I loved it, but I can't wait to talk to you more about it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And then the other thing I'm watching is Humans, which it's beautiful and it has potential, and I'm super curious to see where it's going. There is a whiff of like a not quite successful USA series about it, and I'm waiting to see. Like, it's not been
Which
enough.
is hilarious, since we were just talking about how awesome Mr. Robot is, which airs
and
on
Mr.
USA
Robot
Network. Right?
is like Battlestar Galactica, only in our real world. Like, in terms of the quality and the depth of the storytelling, I think Humans will get there. I do. But right in the beginning, it just has a little bit of a whiff of like Captain Obvious acting.
Can I, real quick, one more little hat tip to Mr. Robot. If you look at the names of the, USA is handling it right. Not only is the content in there very web savvy, very, very, like, all of us are like, oh, they got that right. They got that right. Even the titles of the episodes look like titles of torrents of the episodes. It's like it says EPS 1.1 underscore ones and zeros and dot MPEG or dot MOV or whatever. I mean, it's fantastic to see. There we go. You can see it, and like the next step, or scroll back up. Looks like next week's episode is dot MP4 and then dot WMV and then dot MKV, which is a popular torrent format. I mean, it's smart, man. Smart show. Hop on the Mr. Robot train.
What else you been watching, Brian?
Yeah. Well, speaking of torrents, of all people, somebody, a man of the cloth, sent me a link to something that's since been taken down, and I got a sneak preview of another Rick and Morty episode. One of them was the episode that I'd already watched live and paid to see. The other one was, I believe, the first episode of upcoming Rick and Morty, and holy crap, is it good. I also got all the way caught up on True Detective, which we'll talk about in spoiler in time, all 3 episodes. And I watched a documentary that just hit Netflix, An Honest Liar, about James Randi, and I have some thoughts about that. I don't want to. It's difficult. Number one, it's a rad experience to watch a movie where you know more people. You personally have met more people in the documentary than you have not met. Like as you go, like by the numbers, I'd say 80% of the people are people I've met with, and half of them I'd call friends. And yet there are aspects to it that really frustrated me, that I understand why they would do it in a documentary, but it left me frustrated, and I felt like was unfair. But we could talk about it some other time. I'd be interested to hear what you think, Tom, if you watch it.
Yeah, I haven't watched it, and I would love to watch it. So yeah, maybe I'll try to fit it in so we can talk about it on spoiler in time. I have been watching Orange is the New Black. I went ahead and finished it up all the way through episode 13. But spoiler in time will only cover the ones that both Brian and I have watched. Finally caught up on Orphan Black. Finished that. Did watch Mr. Robot episode 2, as we mentioned, and then True Detective, The Shield, and just over the weekend, Eileen had last week off, and we both had a little extra time on Friday. We started watching Empire on Hulu, and then we compotated it. Like, we just ended up going on an Empire bender and finishing up the entire season. I think it was Saturday night, we realized, wait a minute, did we just watch all of it? Like, it actually got to the point where, like, okay, I think we're done. And then we realized, well, wait a minute, there's only one more episode. We might as well stay up and finish it. So we did. Really good show that gets better the more you watch it, not just because you get to know the characters, but the storyline is one of those storylines where you know what all the pieces are, but they give you an oh shit moment every episode, and sometimes a couple of those. Yeah.
Dude, that's great, man. Hey,
what? What? I was about to move on to Dispatches from the Front.
Okay, yeah, you should, but we have to set something up once we get there. So let
what's
us
that?
move forward to
All right.
Dispatches from the Front.
Oh, okay.
There's some dispatches.
All
Oh, wait, we skipped On the Lookout.
No, that's why
Doggone
Neshcom is
it.
like that. On the Lookout.
Back in time. It's great.
Forget
Nobody
dispatches
noticed.
from the front. And my apologies for moving past that. On the Lookout is Bryce, our producers, look at something out there that you were probably not aware of, and if you were, you're pretty hip. What do you got for us this time, Bryce?
So I wanted to. I have a confession for you guys. I like the Real Housewives shows. I said it.
What?
Yeah.
Housewives or Hot Wives?
The Housewives.
Okay.
The Atlanta, the Beverly Hills,
It's okay. It's okay, Bryce. You're in a safe space. It's okay.
But on Hulu, there is an exclusive series which is a pitch perfect parody of all of those series called the Real Hot Wives of Orlando. This is from the same crew that did, if you know, Burning Love, which was a web series, or Children's Hospital, or NTSF, SDSUV, which are Adult Swim shows. It takes like moments from the actual shows and makes them into these over the top, exaggerated moments. Like that was a scene where all of the ladies get together to tell each other that they're not friends, and it becomes this very actually cordial moment of like, okay, I'm gonna not be friends with you first, and then you guys cannot be friends, and then we'll swap. If you know that, if you know some of those strokes, then it is a show that will give you a little bit of it'll give you a little laugh. Sometimes if you are not tuned in, you'll miss it. But it's 7 half-hour episodes on Hulu exclusively.
Right on.
Jenny, I know that you are a fan of the Burning Love, right?
Absolutely. It was when I worked at Yahoo, that came out, and it was Yahoo's deal, and then it later went to E! And it was genuinely one of the funniest parody things I've seen anywhere. I mean, it was so funny, and it just completely nailed. That one was The Bachelor and The Bachelorette that it was skewering. But I still go back occasionally and watch Burning Love because it's an example of when you truly love a ridiculous piece of television, you are the only person who can skewer it through with a fork. Because Ken Marino and his wife loved The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, and they turned it around and did this. And so I can't wait to see Real Hot Wives of Orlando. Absolutely.
Which is exactly what you get from Hot Wives is the ladies and the guys who are in the show like know the show. You don't make a show like this without knowing, oh, there's a music thing. Oh, there's a vacation thing every year. Oh, there's this and that and the other thing, which just speaks to like how authentic or I don't know how true the humor is. Those are both very bad words to be using there, but
A humor born of love.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A parody born of love. Something like that. All right. I'm sorry, Bryce. I feel like I owe you an apology for moving past that. It's good stuff. There's always good stuff that you're on the lookout for.
yeah. You guys want to move on to dispatches?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yes.
So do we need to set something up first?
Yeah, man. There's a bit of news in order for this first email to make any sense. I don't know if you saw this, but got a bunch of emails from folks in Chicago upset that Chicago is proposing or is talking about banning about the idea of a cloud tax that would do an extra tax for Netflix and other streaming services, saying that I just saw that the Verge subheadline says "Old City yells at cloud" is the subtitle on there, basically saying like, you're taking away all our entertainment services. Nobody's gonna watch local live music or sketch comedy anymore. Whoa, why I oughta. I
don't even think it's that. Having some familiarity with Chicago, having grown up in Illinois, this is Chicago saying, hey, where can we get money? Oh, you know what? We have an amusements tax that is meant for like amusement parks, but people are awfully amused by Netflix. I bet we could extend that tax and just get even more money from people because everybody's watching Netflix and they're watching it in Chicago in their house. So let's take that 9% tax. Let's extend that to amusement. And then somebody else said, "Oh, you know what? We got this productivity tax, right? So you gotta pay a tax on your computer stuff. Let's make all those cloud services where you storage all your storage. We'll add a 9% tax on that. We'll be billionaires."
Yep. The exact quote in the article is, quote, "Jurisdictions around the world, including the U.S., are trying to figure out ways to tax online services," said a Netflix representative reached by The Verge. "This is one approach." And you won't believe this, Tom. Turns out time travel's possible because I got an email that says, message, this is from ShiftLock, message, "I am a time traveler, and this email is in response to the discussion you haven't had yet about the city of Chicago imposing a cloud tax on streaming services like Netflix. I agree with Brian that this is despicable." Chicago's argument that they're trying to recoup tax revenue lost to brick and mortar stores that have been replaced with streaming services, but this argument doesn't fly for two reasons. One, because there are presumably new businesses where old stores used to be that are paying tax and offering taxable products and services, and two, because streaming services don't use local resources like a brick and mortar store. But most importantly, even if they've lost tax revenue, that's just too damn bad. They have no right to replace it with a tax on a product that isn't originating and may not be consumed in their city. What if I live in Chicago but watch Netflix exclusively when I travel? Well, thank you, ShiftLock. Thanks to your email, we don't have to have the discussion because we already know that it turns out that I was right.
The night that Netflix died. And everybody got a billing address in Kankakee. So that they could
Yes,
pay
exactly.
for their Netflix subscriptions. Yeah, I mean, this is one of those things where the city is really just trying to find money. All cities are struggling to find money. It has nothing to do with Netflix in particular, right? And they just thought, hey, well, this might be a way to get some money. But it's very problematic because the internet isn't regional.
Well, and to be honest, it doesn't matter if they're entitled to it or not. What matters is if it's a soft target that they can get away with. As a traveling entertainer, oftentimes, you'll make a few $1,000s to do a single show in a single night, and then they'll hand you the check. Let's say the negotiated fee is $3,000. The check will say $2,850, and they're like, "Oh, it's an entertainment tax. You can get it back from the government if you pay someone to file or whatever." Like that is the perfect thing because it's an out-of-towner. It's a tax that's passed on people who don't live there, so everyone's in favor of it, et cetera, et cetera. And it seems like this is them trying to play that game.
Although I don't know how soft this is because I don't know if Netflix, I guess they're trying to get Netflix to collect it on anything with a Chicago address, and then people could appeal if they think that that's wrong or incorrect somehow. So yeah, I guess you're right.
But why just
it does put a
Netflix?
burden on any service that wants to provide any kind of service in Chicago. If you're suddenly going to have to comb through your user base and look for Chicagoans and think about Patreon, for instance. Does that mean that if you give money to us on Patreon, we now...
Ooh, let's stop talking right now and move on to the next email
Oh, hey, hold
because
on.
we don't
Jenny
want to
was
give
gonna say
ideas.
I
Believe
was
me,
just
we
going
aren't
to
going to
say
give them
that this
ideas.
sounds completely and utterly unenforceable, illegal, and very much like the Chicago way.
Well, and understand, like if you're going to do this smart, what you do is you swear that you're not taxing the locals, you're taxing those other guys from down the other side of the continent. But unfortunately, it's so transparent that that's not the case here, and that's the problem with it. Steve says, "Gentlemen, I was wondering if either of you had checked out the Netflix original Grace and Frankie. It's a 14-part comedy series with Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin. My wife and I really enjoyed it, although we are much older than you guys. First couple of episodes seemed a little forced, but after that, I thought it improved substantially and was fun." Steve, I've seen the advertisements for it. This is a case where you have a couple of older couples. This is from the golden age of television. You got, as you mentioned, Lily Tomlin and Jane Fonda and I believe
Martin Sheen.
Yeah, Martin Sheen and
Sam Waterston.
There you go. Sam Waterston is the other name. But it's two husbands who want to leave their wives for each other, right? Mm-hmm. Is the setup for it? It looked like a good idea. I don't know that it'll be quite on the level of Transparent, because Transparent was, as I've said before, my pick for the best show of 2014. But yeah, no, it looked good.
Eileen watched the whole thing. Thought it was great. I haven't watched it yet, but she thought it was hilarious. She was cackling from me. I could hear her laughing. As I was watching Orange is the New Black, she was watching Grace and Frankie, actually.
Awesome.
I was just going to say a friend of ours writes for that show, and he tells some great stories about it, and it's a really wonderful show, and it really is like a bunch of legendary TV people putting it on, so I'm super excited to finish watching it and see where it goes. They're starting to write next season. I'm super excited for it.
It was kind of amazing to see the utterly relaxed way that they rolled it out, where it's just sort of like, by the way, all the most famous people in the world, people who would have commanded a 30 million primetime audience 30 years ago. Anyway, they're all in the room together doing this show with an amazing setup and everything.
Really?
Peace out,
Because
Netflix.
I saw billboards for it. I saw trailers for it before movies in that like pre-movie run-up time. I saw a lot of marketing.
No, see, I doggone it. I guess I just live in a bubble because I didn't get any of that. I just saw it.
No, that's really interesting because basically they're like, oh, that zip code Brian lives in? Yeah, forget it. Like, that's not worth it.
I mean, maybe kind of. That's a little bit what it was like. That's amazing.
Yeah. I live with a lot of old people around me. That's what you're saying. Yeah. Is that what you're saying? John Pennington, which hilariously was in my band Roadkill when I was growing up, but I don't think it's the same John Pennington, said, "Hi, guys. I had to stop and rewind when you said that Showtime was coming to Hulu. Showtime is a CBS network, and CBS has been all but openly hostile to Hulu in the past. Has CBS blinked, or is this just another nail in Hulu's financial coffin?"
What do you say to that, Tom? I think the short
CBS
answer
has
is
not been openly hostile to Hulu. In fact, I was at CBS when they bought CNET. I was at CNET when they bought CBS, or CBS bought them. And Les Moonves made a point in talking to us in the welcome thing of saying, we're looking at Hulu. We just want to make sure we get paid and we get authenticated. And this was because CNET owned TV.com, which had just struck a deal with Hulu that CBS wasn't sure they wanted to continue with. What it was is CBS wanted more money than Hulu could give them or would give them, and CBS wasn't an owner of Hulu like Comcast, Fox, and ABC. CBS has tons of back catalog stuff on Hulu, like loads of it. They just don't put any of their current stuff because they think they can get more money by providing their own CBS All Access. But what they decided with Showtime was, hey, guess what? We can sell a lot of this stuff.
Miss Jenny Josephson, where can we see more of your lovely, beautiful face?
Well, in addition to seeing it in the post show, at least, of Daily Tech News Show, I have a podcast called Tell It Anyway, which is 3 people, 3 stories about one topic. I mentioned a guy that I know that works on Grace and Frankie. He's going to be on the show on the very next episode, telling funny stories about Jane Fonda and Martin Sheen, and a bonus story about Elaine Stritch, which is so unbelievable. I literally can't wait for it to be edited by me. TellItAnyway.com. We'll have 17 episodes after this one is posted, which is not bad.
That is a fantastic name for a podcast, by the way, in that it tells a whole story. And, that whole moment, that pregnant moment of like, I really shouldn't. And it's like, hey, tell it anyway.
Tell it
That's
anyway.
great. And of course, if you guys want to write into us, hit us up at cordkillers@gmail.com. When are we live, Tom?
Right now. We're live right now. Which, if you're watching later, just to clear it up, is Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Our email address is cordkillers@gmail.com. Diamondclub.tv is where you watch us live. We'll see you next time.
Hey, guys. Tom and Brian here. We just wanted to say thank you to all of our $5 patrons who keep us loud, live, and independent. You guys make Cordkillers the production that it is.
Your name appears in the video credits and appears in our hearts. And if you'd like to become one of them or see who they are, you can go to patreon.com/cordkillers.
You'll need to do more than just go there, though. You'll have to sign up and, pledge an amount. But
unless you just want to see who they are.
Well, I mean, you could gawk. That's a little creepy, isn't it?
If you want to be a gawker,
Let's go.
it's up to you.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.